leaders, dreamers, changemakers, welcome to the Vibrant Living Podcast. Here, limitations shatter and potential explodes into a kaleidoscope of possibility. At the helm, Donna Tashjian, life mastery coach and founder of Vibrant Living International, weaves godly wisdom and Christian perspective into every step, empowering you to discover your purpose and light up your world. Here is your host, Donna.
Hello, my Vibrant Living community. Welcome to another episode of the Vibrant Living Podcast with a special guest. Jenny is with me here today. Jenny, where do you live in the world?
I am in North Carolina.
North Carolina. And at the time of recording, we are having some hot weather. How about you?
Very hot here.
So tell this, we're both having our favorite beverage as we record this. And so I encourage the listeners to grab yours and maybe a notepad, because I have a feeling there's going to be some nuggets today. Jenny, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So I am a remarried widow, mother of 13. 11 of those I birthed. I lost one of them in a stillbirth. And then two of them are my bonus children from my second husband. I grew up as a military brat, moving every 2 years. And I've always been creative, and creativity has been, my calm in the midst of chaos in so many areas and seasons of my life.
Yeah. A mother of 13. That just is a little bit, I have 3. Oh, that is a busy household.
Yes, very busy.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing today.
So today in addition to my physical creative products, I am on a mission to help women heal from loss or difficult life challenges, because I have been in those places, but I've come out the other side with so much joy and grace, and I want to help others find that too.
Absolutely. So you are helping people through some of the things that you've gone through. Would you mind sharing a few of the things that have felt extremely painful for you?
Of course. I guess we would start at the beginning with the very first difficult life challenge was being a teen mom. I had my first child a week before my 18th birthday. So my whole senior year, well, the first half of my senior year, I was pregnant. And then the second half, I was raising a baby. So watching all my friends go to prom and getting ready for graduation and everything while I was here trying to learn how to be a parent.
Right.
It was very difficult. And it was difficult for my parents and my family as well. There were a lot of things that were said and that were done that were very hurtful. But then 3 months later, I did marry the father, my boyfriend at the time, and really thinking back on that, we both, I think, felt an obligation to get married because we were both raised in the Catholic faith, and we had sinned and we had made our bed, so now we had to sleep in it, kind of a situation. And so, all my friends were going off to college. I did go to college for a year, but then I got pregnant with our second child and decided that college was not my path, that I was just supposed to be a mom.
Yep.
So
I noticed that word you said, just a mom.
yeah.
It is so many times. I mean, being a mother is incredible, but it's just the words that we use that show that how you thought about yourself.
Yeah.
And there was probably shame and embarrassment grief for all the things that you thought you were going to be doing at 18 that you're no longer doing.
Yep.
And it all changed in a blink of an eye. Um, and, you know, it's just a lot to process. For those of you who remember my story, I became a mom at 15. And so when I turned 18, I had a 3-year-old. And all of the same. I mean, I was picturing proms, and I mean, I talked to people who went, and it wasn't that great, but we build it up in our mind of what it's going to be like, and the pretty dress and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm cleaning spit up off of me, and changing dirty diapers, and figuring out how to sleep, and all of the things that are completely different. One of my goals, Jenny, was to be at the age where my responsibilities matched my peers. It's like
Hmm.
I could fit in. And did you feel like that?
I did, yeah. Because I mean, I didn't fit in anymore because I was a mom, and no one my age that I knew was also a mom. So there were so many things that we could not relate to each other about.
Yeah. And that is another isolation that
Hmm.
occurs, is that loneliness of and and the pressure of, and then but tell me more about feeling like the guilt or the sin part that you mentioned. Has that affected you later on? Did you notice that showing up at different stages
Yeah.
in your life?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely held myself back from my full potential of what God wanted me to do. And then in 2014, I miscarried my eighth child. I delivered him, so it was a late term miscarriage, stillbirth. Um, and when I was going through that grief, that idea of that sin and um and the choice I made to keep my first child and get married, it came back as so much guilt that I was starting to tell myself that that's the reason why I lost this baby. That God was punishing me because I had decided to not give my first child up for adoption. Um, so that was a huge struggle, and I had to really work hard to pull myself out of that, and realize that God doesn't punish us.
Right.
He allows us to go through storms in our life so that we can find growth and we can learn to lean on him because he wants us to lean on him.
Yeah. It's interesting how our subconscious tries to make sense out of things. And
Yeah.
it in any time it seems like it does in our fallen nature, is we always blame ourselves. I mean, kids that go through divorce, somehow I did it wrong. It's like whatever it is, it's like we always feel like we're the one. And once Jesus comes into our life, he paid the price for guilt and sin and all of that kind of stuff. But it is a process, because up until that eighth child, you probably didn't know that that was still a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, there were a couple times, because in the Catholic Church we have reconciliation where we go to a priest and tell our sins. And there was at least one time I had a conversation with a priest where I felt like that sin was still on my heart, even though I had already confessed it previously. And he said to me, he's like, well, has forgiven you, but it sounds like you haven't forgiven you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. But we don't always recognize that stuff that's coming up. And as we go through life, it's funny how it shows up later on with things. So, what are some of the other things you're doing right now you mentioned you're a widow, so there had to be another grief point in your life. And so what's happening with all of that and what you're doing today?
So in 2021, I lost my first husband to COVID. And our youngest was only 4 months at that time. So that just shook up my entire world. And of course, with grief, you like I did that first time around, you start looking back at everything else. And it was weird for me because we struggled so much because we married so young. There was a lot of issues between the two of us with controlling and manipulation and all that stuff. So it was weird when he passed away. I almost had this crazy sense of freedom,
Yeah,
which complicated the grief so
absolutely.
much.
Absolutely.
Um, but it also was another transformational point for me because I had to look at myself and figure out who I was now if I wasn't a wife anymore and beyond just being a mom, because I knew at that point there's more to me than this. There has to be.
Yeah.
Um, so I took the time to find healing myself, and through that healing, God has continually been calling me to share my story and help others heal. Um, he and it's gotten louder as the months go by, and
Yeah.
now my life has finally seemed to calm down and settled into a new normal. I don't normally like that phrase, but it is what it is. Um, so now I have built a program called Creative Resilience, Healing Your Heart Through Art. Because like I said at the beginning, creativity has always been such an important part of my life. It's been that peace in the chaos. And creativity also, it allows you to release and express your emotions without using words, because sometimes there are no words.
Mhm.
So so I'm doing one-on-one coaching. I'm doing a 2-hour workshop just for a sneak peek if you're not sure about going further, and then a longer program to help you move from grief to grace and find your joy again in just 3 months.
Wow. That's a great length of time because we think sometimes that it's going to be forever. The
Yeah.
other thing about grief is it's sneaky because you're
Hmm.
fine one day or 1 minute, and then something happens and you're not.
Yeah.
And women are really good because we are resilient and we have to. I mean, if you think about all the things that you went through that you've yet to talk about
Hmm.
completely, all the things that you went through in your marriage and in being such a young mom, and all of the pressure to be a certain image to the
Hmm.
world. And when we begin to uncover that, is women sometimes say, I'm okay. Who hasn't said I'm okay when we're not okay?
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Because we have to be fine. We have to keep going. And what you're offering women is a pause to be able to actually get to fine,
Hmm.
actually get to good, and not just good, but great, and being able to actually deal with it. But it takes courage,
Yeah.
to face some of the things that you've done or you've said out loud. I will put it that way. And what happened in your life, it has taken courage because it doesn't mean that it's easy, but it's so worth it. What does
Absolutely.
freedom look like on the other side? And I know, Jenny, you're still discovering that as you
Hmm.
go and help others, but you have such a light about you and joy. And I am excited about your class. I will be promoting it every time I see it so that you can, and it is a different way than traditional counseling to be able to heal. And it resonates with those that are more artistic and creative and want to find that. And even if you don't think you are, give it a try. Go to the 2 hour workshop and check it out with that. So, as we get to wrap up today, in a minute, I want you to share how they can find you. But speak to that woman. She's on the precipice of really dealing with things. She's afraid, doubting herself. But she knows that there is more for her. What would you say to her?
I would say that, you know, you just need to take the next right step. Um, just take that step in faith when I finally surrendered myself and said, okay, something has to change. It made a world of difference. And you are not alone. And to understand that you're not alone and find your tribe or your community, it helps so much. And being on the other side, it's just, it's like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. You can stand taller and find joy again.
Yeah. It is powerful just to say yes when you don't know what's next.
Yeah.
Just to say yes and to surrender and say, I want more. Show me how, God. And so I encourage you guys to do that. And Jenny, how can they find you if they want to learn about all of the things you have to offer?
So I am on Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook, I'm Jenny Burba. LinkedIn, I'm Jennifer Burba. And then I have a website, creativeresiliencehealing.com.
Okay.
And the best email address would be burbadesigns@gmail.com.
We'll put those links wherever you find us sharing, whether audio or video, so that you can reach out to Jenny and find out. And the other question I have is, who needs to hear this? Maybe it's not you, but you know of some woman who's still dealing with grief, and that grief also that you're almost relieved, and then you feel guilty because there's relief from something that wasn't as great as you hoped it would be. So how to traverse that? Jenny understands it and will be happy to help you. So Jenny, thank you for being brave and courageous and sharing your story, and I'm cheering you on.
Oh, thank you so much, Donna.
Jenny is an amazing person, and if her resources, check them out so that you can get help. And if you need somebody to talk to, I am always here. And my link will to schedule a call. I call it a wisdom call, where we touch base with heaven and what is going on in your life so that you can discover what to do next with clarity and confidence. Also, there is my free guide, Renew, Recharge, and Thrive. That will be available in the notes as well, wherever you find me sharing. And so until next time, blessings, I pray for clarity and wisdom and the courage to take the next step. Bye for now.
I hope your soul feels ignited, your spirit nourished, and your mind buzzing with possibilities. Share this with a friend who needs a dose of vibrant living. Tag us on #VibrantLivingPodcast and tell us your biggest takeaway. For more support, clarity, and wisdom, visit Donna at iVibrantLiving.com. See you soon.